everyone, this is Rabnia's Blog Animation Bliss, and welcome to another anime discussion series. So today's anime discussion is going to be on my thoughts on the 13th episode of the new RANMA 1/2 remake. Since Season 2 has officially come out, I'm now ready to go ahead and tackle all the episodes that premiere in Season 2. And normally I would have called this episode like Season 2, Episode 1, but to avoid confusion, I decided to just go ahead and call this Episode 13 to make things a little easier when it comes to talking about the episodes with this series. But now, let's get started into my thoughts on this episode. So in this episode, we're introduced to a creepy teenage boy named Go Tsunkuji, and it turns out that he actually fell in love with Akane Tendo. But the problem is that now that RANMA is Akane's fiance, Akane doesn't really pay much attention to Go Tsunkuji, and so Go Tsunkuji pairs up with Kuno, and they decide to find out what RANMA's weakness is, since before this episode, RANMA didn't seem to have any kind of weakness, and he seems to be like an invincible fighter. Well, we find out in this episode that RANMA does have a weakness, and it's that he's terrified of cats. And so Go Tsunkuji tries to exploit RANMA's weakness any way he can. So what are my thoughts on this episode? I really enjoyed this episode. So let's talk about what I did like about this episode. So the first thing that I liked about this episode was the premise. The fact that this episode was able to adapt one of my all-time favorite storylines, which was basically the first time we learned about RANMA being terrified of cats. I really love how this episode was able to adapt that popular storyline, and it did it in such an interesting and hilarious way. Like, the animation in this episode was very lively, and it fits so well with the goofy nature of this episode. And the fact that this episode is all about how Kuno and Go Tsunkuji try to find out what RANMA's weakness is was really interesting to me, because before this point we didn't really see RANMA have any kind of weakness when it comes to fighting, and he seems to be very invincible. But in this episode we actually learn that RANMA is terrified of cats, and I really love this aspect of this episode. And I'm going to go into a bit of spoiler territory in the next few minutes. So if you guys haven't seen this episode, or you're not aware of this story arc, then here's a big spoiler tag up here. So that way, if you guys don't want to be spoiled, you can skip through this segment of the spoiler tag. And now let's get into the spoiler parts of this episode. So it's revealed that whenever RANMA's fear of cats go to an all-time high, his mind starts transforming into one of a cat, and he starts acting like a cat. But the problem here is that he becomes even more invincible as a cat. And I really love this aspect of the storyline, because not only does this subvert our expectations about what happens if we know about a character's weakness, but it actually made RANMA even stronger as a fighter. And you never would have guessed in a million years that RANMA's weakness would actually be like his greatest asset when it comes to fighting. He becomes much stronger when he has the mind of a cat, and he's fighting like a cat. And I really love this aspect of the episode, how they turn RANMA's weakness into something more powerful, and it just makes the whole situation even more hilarious to watch. Another thing that I liked about this episode was the introduction of Go Tsunkuji. So in the original 89 series, Go Tsunkuji's character wasn't really introduced in the series until like maybe the last few seconds of the anime, and they actually had a ninja character in the original series that actually took Go Tsunkuji's role in the original series, and that was okay for me in the original series. But yeah, I really liked the character of Go Tsunkuji, and I was glad that the remake was able to get this character from the get-go instead of waiting until the last second of the anime to introduce this character. And I really like how they were able to handle Go Tsunkuji's character in this particular episode, as they made him just as creepy as he was in the original manga series, and he plays a big role into discovering RANMA's weakness. So I really love the fact that they introduced Go Tsunkuji's character in this episode. Now, if there's a minor nitpick that I have with this episode, is that the pacing is very fast. Like, this is a problem that I've been having with the remake series so far, is that the pacing with this series is so fast. But on the other hand, I can understand why the pacing is that fast, because if you read the original manga series, the pacing in that series is just as fast as the remake, and the remake is just trying to be very faithful to the manga. So yeah, the whole fast pace of this episode was basically taken from the manga series. So yeah, I have to kind of remember that whenever I'm watching the remake series, is that the original manga series was very fast paced itself, and the remake series was just being faithful to the manga series. So yeah, that's something I have to remember when I'm watching this series. And now a word from this channel. all aboard the Animated Social Media Express. Want to send some tweets my way? Then follow me on Twitter. Want to join our special animation community? Then join our Discord group, Animation Bliss. Want to see more updates on our YouTube videos? Then check out our Facebook group, Animation Bliss. Want to download on everything going on with this channel? Then check all of the above. And now, back to the video. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. The fact that this episode took one of my all-time favorite storylines from the manga series and they were able to adapt it in such a meaningful and hilarious way really made me love this episode, and I can't wait to see more episodes from this series down the line. So those are my thoughts on the 13th episode of the new RANMA 1/2 remake, and tell me in the comments down below, have you guys seen this episode of the new RANMA 1/2 remake, and what did you guys think about this episode? Please let me know in the comments down below. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's blog, Animation Bliss, and I'll see you guys later. Hey animation fans, like this video? If you want to see more animated content from this channel, then please hit that big old animated subscribe button so that you can get more awesome content from this channel.